Material versus phenomenal realities. Muhammad Yusuf. Why a philosopher, poet, or an artist who finally chooses to live within his or her own self? Is a poet's love for solitary confinement synonymous with self-exile? Does living within one's own abode lead to self-centeredness? No. For struggle for living in the real world doesn't fill the vacuum in human mind which demands a sense of completion and stability vis-a-vis engagement and liberty. What do the engagement, stability, and completion refer to? Has death divided life, or it has completed the cycle of life? Life has glamour, of course. Despite the existence of want, there are attraction, love, nervous feeling of happiness, excitement, and joy in life. Even after all these, something appears to be non-existent. This feeling of non-existence cannot be changed into existence by conquering new land or by increased enjoyment. Here lies man's incompleteness, vacuum and loneliness which human can't easily override. Man's desire for liberty and stability is aimed at achieving its unachieved. Wise folks, be he a poet, artist, philosopher, or a non-author, feel this reality. Where had we been before our birth? Of course, there were peace and stability in our previous dueling world. I am asserting on this point, in particular, as because we have been feeling the need of peace and stability after coming to this world. I am the man in want. I need food to live on. I have to run here and there in order to live by a livelihood. I am always under stress. I am compelled to bear the burden of this life. Of course, there is joy in life, which is why we don't feel the pain of labor, get satisfied after having a good dish, and get spellbound by the love of a spouse. Even in old days, some of us feel the excitement of adolescence. But what about the vacuum in mind? Our mind demands something different. Here lies a mystery about which Nobel laureate Nadine Gordimer says, "The expression of my creativity, which comes out of the naturally built-in power of imagination, will be different from my material life." A writer must have to be habituated to look at the world in surprise. Why so? Because a wise man always seeks way out to bypass defeat. He desires to live like ducklings. Duckling, after swimming in the pond, removes all feels of the body. The policy of catch the fish not touching the water is needed in life as it is an urge from nature. Otherwise, our course of life will be detracted and we shall fail to enter into the abode of truth. The abode of creativity that contains imagination, perception, intellectuality, thought, and thought process is different from material life. The existence of such an abode is the phenomenal reality. Our human has the entry pass to this abode, not any other living being. Humans' intense desire for living in another world with stability, liberty, and peace proves that, in fact, we once lived in another world without anxiety, want, and acquisition. We lived there in peace and safety. Then what happened? A. Peace and stability were violated. B. We feel the grief of want. C. We got alienated. The first problem is the sense of alienation that refers to the fact that human soul has been alienated from the absolute soul. No problem was there when human soul was the part of and parcel of absolute soul. Out of this line of logic, we reach to a conclusion that a problem arose and we have been thrown into it. Who has thrown? What for? Prior to settling this question, man can't remove his sense of alienation. In that case, he has to repeat Nobel laureate Octavio Paz. Man never can override his loneliness. The issue is not about overriding state of alienation, that is to get attached with the absolute. This attachment doesn't refer to complete merger, as the absolute is sovereign and almighty. He is in essence supreme, one and alone. Having got attached with him, peace, happiness, and safety is perceived to be achieved. Most of the folks of our world do not enjoy the sense of safety due to lack of in-depth knowledge and faith. Therefore, their lives rotate within the cycle of emptiness and loneliness. The art of diplomacy, conquest of land, nationalism and patriotism, etc., originated out of desire to solve artistic problems, building solidarity with other human beings. But the first problem of human mind, the sense of alienation, can't be solved by diplomacy, nuclear research, patriotism, nationalism, dollar, pound, oil, bullet or computer. Oil and potato are needed for feeding the body, but the vacuum of mind can't be filled by it. পাগল মন রে, মন কেন এত কথা বলে? Mind, crazy mind, why does mind speak out too much? Mind speaks out too much as the absolute soul, Allah, Almighty, all-wise, the Creator, the greatest, from which it has sourced or speaks many things to it. As the absolute soul, Allah, Almighty, all-wise, the Creator, the greatest, speaks out frequently. Therefore, we, the living beings and strays, who have been alienated from Him, are supposed to speak out much more. We feel pain, grief and stress. Allah has alienated us. Therefore, our crazy minds stay in pain for communion with Him. What was the purpose of our alienation? Due to the great affection? Great affection just not pulls near alone, but also pushes away sometimes. Why does it push away? Isn't it more enjoyable to stay near? Allah says, He is the nearest to us. We shall feel provided if we sincerely look for Him. Then the feeling of alienation will be killed. If so happens, we can settle we have not been really separated, or we indeed got separated. It remains the mystery between human and absolute soul, Allah, Almighty, all-wise, the Creator and the greatest. The other name of His mystery is human life. Passing the days in surprise and joy within the frame of this mystery is the functional dimension of life. It happens in the thought process of phenomenal realities. The essence of Allah, Almighty and all-wise is interesting because in order to find Him, man has to read the nature from earth to the sky as well as his own self too. The act of reading is not so tough, though as Allah sent us to this world having given some of the attributes of His own self. Hence, a clean mind which is free from all greed can easily comprehend Allah. Nobel laureate Nadine Gordimer says, the abode of creativity must stay separate from the real life, and an author must be habituated to see the world in sincere and spontaneous surprise, etc. This statement requires a correction. The abode of creativity must stay separate from material, not real, life, as material life is also real, which can't be ignored. It is the limitation of artistic life as stated by great poet Iqbal. Suppose man is compelled to do many works which lack dignity and beauty. Such compulsion is the rule of material life. Out of this analysis, it can be settled that both material and phenomenal aspects of human life are real. The real diametrically opposite to each other, and sometimes clash happens between them. Such clash is the reason behind mental disorder and disgrace in human life. Usually, ignorant folks stay satisfied with material life. They eat, drink and make merriment, but never feel the joy of facing the real life in totality. Perhaps due to this reason, Nobel laureate Nadine Gordimer insisted to separate real life from the abode of reality. Phenomenal reality as an issue is less discarded in our surroundings as the huge bigger portion of human life is spent after struggle for existence. Later, our weak nerve can run with high thinking in the old age. Each and every member of the billion-strong human race would feel the happiness of paradise on earth if they were aware of phenomenal realities of their lives.